Well, hey friends, welcome back to my Oregon yard. It's Destry. Today we are here in the garden and we're going to be making some winter wreaths. It's a kind of a chilly, rainy day here in the Pacific Northwest. So why don't you join me? I'll show you what I'm doing for some wreath making for my flower stand this season and show you how I'm going to get these wreaths all ready to sell. If you're new here or a new subscriber, I just want to say welcome to the channel. Today we have this fun project of making wreaths. So let me show you all the supplies that I've gathered for this. I've got everything kind of ready to go, and then today is really going to be about just assembling these wreaths and decorating them, making them unique, pricing them, and getting them ready for a sale on my flower stand tomorrow of my holiday wreath kind of collection. So if I have enough time, I'm also going to be putting together some jarred arrangements for the flower stand. So I'll probably do that in a different video. So be sure to stay tuned to the channel, like and subscribe so you can see more fun projects this season. Over here are some supplies that I've been gathering up. I have several wreath forms. These ones here are just a regular kind of hoop wreath form. So this one is kind of different. It has these little pieces that you bend around the foliage. So one of my really good friends has one of these and recommended it. This is still tangled. There we go. So anyway, I'm going to be trying this season just to see. Now this is a wreath form. Since I only have one, I might as well keep. So I'll probably be making a wreath for my home with this one. And then this summer, I like to hit different garage sales and things like that. Like mostly garage sales. I was going to say flea markets, but that not so much. But I do like thrifting and doing things like on a budget. So these were some that I found this summer. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of these square wreath forms. So I thought these would be really fun to use this season too. And I'm going to be trying these. And then the last size wreath form that I grabbed this summer, again thrifting, I have these smaller circular ones, and I'm just going to count them up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8 of these. So yeah, these are the main bulk of the size that I have. So definitely going to be making these size wreaths and selling them at a price point that's going to be just right to get them home to families. So as far as other supplies I'm going to use for this, I have my large clippers. I have some paddle wire that I got on Amazon. These are super cute. I scooped these up this year from, I think, Target, I'm pretty sure. And then these ones I got on Amazon. They're kind of smaller ribbons, but I have this really pretty bronze color. And I think I have a few cream ones left and a few green ones left. I also have these, they're kind of buried in here, but these little wooden snowflakes. They actually go into each other and like stand up, but I thought these might be fun. This is a leftover thing from one of my Goodwill finds, so I'm not sure about that. And then I have a few other bows and things I've made, which I'll show you as well. And then over here is the main pile of greens that I have from my lovely friend who did quite a bit of trimming on her Christmas tree, and so I was able to snag those from her. If you remember these guys from a previous video, here's George and Bob. They're still looking great. In fact, they've put on a lot of growth and they're happy here under the cover in the backyard. And then here's the bucket that I'm really excited about. So my best friend Tiana, she gifted me some things from her yard. Can you believe that beauty berry? How gorgeous is that? There's all different types of things in here, including some monkey tree, which you have to be really careful. It's really pokey. Look at this holly that's totally budded up. Some weeping cedar, it looks like here. Just lots of things in this bucket. So I'm very excited to use these as accent pieces for the main greenery that I have. This is going to be my workspace, which is really tiny, but it's just what I have right now. I've got my insulated gloves, my other gloves, and my clippers. I have kind of 2 different sizes here. So I'm just going to get going on this project and, you know, turn the camera on, and I'll try to talk through parts, but I just need to kind of also get in the rhythm and get creative and get it going. So yeah, that's my plan. All right, well, let's get going on this project today. Let's get started. It's always kind of exciting to start a new project and find your rhythm. So I'm going to start with those smallest wreath forms because I have the most of those and these are the ones I really would like to get done. So I'm just gonna pop one out. So the next thing I need to do is go ahead and start clipping some of these larger branches down here on the ground. And then I'll just pull from that bucket as needed, but I really need to get in here and clip all this. All right, so I've got this pile of smaller pieces now, so this is gonna be a lot easier. So I'm just gonna pop them on this dog crate. I'm like so making this happen right now. So, but that's okay. And then now I can kind of make some bundles. And also, you know, I can handle these branches a lot more easily now that they're smaller and cut, you know, smaller individual pieces, as you know, and be more precise with it now. I am cutting these pretty small for this particular wreath. It just depends. Probably for the bigger wreaths, I'm going to need some bigger pieces, you know. But I also don't want these branches to be like too thick down here. So now I'm just going to create like a little bundle of these and start the wrapping process. So this is my second season making wreaths, so I'm by no way an expert, but I did learn some things from last year. I'll also drop the video that I did last year of making a holiday wreath, but hopefully this year I can improve my skills. You know, it's just about practicing and trying different things. So I'm creating this bundle, and then I'm going to go ahead and start tying on with my paddle wire. Actually, I'm going to make a couple bundles here, so I'm just sort of ready to roll. So I've got 4 bundles ready to go. So now I'm going to go ahead and tie on the paddle wire, and I am going to take my gloves off for a minute. So I'm just going to find a spot on the wreath form and sort of twist this on. I'm on the biggest ring here. So this is where I'm going to tie on. And I'm just kind of going around and then kind of crossing it and going the other direction. So I don't make a true knot, but I definitely, you know, knot up the wire the best that I can here. And then I got to think about, you know, kind of get my rhythm and how I'm going to hold this and wrap. So this looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that first bundle. In fact, I might do one, I'm going to do one loop even just before I start, just to get it attached. There we go. And I'm going to put this one bundle in. And then I'm thinking about, you know, the direction that I'm going. So this is what I've got so far. And then I'm just going to use my paddle wire and pull pretty tightly. Get this first piece wired on. So I'm on the 3rd bundle of this process. So it's going pretty good so far. I'll pick this up here in a second and just show you. What I did a couple things. I made sure my wreath form was facing this right direction. So this is what we're getting here. Now I am getting a little bit of that, you know, space in between, but you know, that's just part of it. I think it'll be fine once I get everything on there. And I can also trim some pieces shorter. I am finding though, to fill the wreath form, I need lots of these like side branches, these littler branches, and then kind of one bigger branch. But yeah, so far so good. I feel like it's going really well. I think I'm just gonna individually tuck some pieces. I am gonna thread them through a piece of the wire, but I also am gonna do some filling. In fact, I think I might do that throughout the wreath, because I can see some spots where I can see my mechanics a little bit, and I don't want to see that. And just a couple spots that are a little empty, and I'm just going to thread it through all the wire and structure that I already have in place, because the bones are there, the structure's there. So now I can fill in. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm gonna go ahead and hold this up so you can kind of see what we've got going on here. So yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. Now these pieces that are a little bit longer, I'm gonna go in and maybe do like a little bit of trimming and also figure out where's the prettiest spot for this to, like, where's the hanging spot where it's going to look nice. If that makes sense. Like, where's the top? Where's the front? Well, I know where the front is. Where's the top? So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just finish out this wire, and I'm just going to attach it, you know, to that frame. So I'm going to go ahead and trim it off and leave some length. Now, here's a little tip for you too. Leave enough length where you can fashion a hook for it, essentially. So I'll show you an idea for that. So I'm going to leave it long, and I'm going to thread my end through the hole, so I have that ready to go. And then I'm going to just work, I don't know quite how to explain it here. I'm going to catch, let me see if I can get the camera in here a little closer. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'm going to take the end of the wire here, and I'm just going to kind of go up through one of the wires, okay, and then around to kind of make a pseudo knot here, and then thinking about this as being my loop. So if you can kind of see that, I've got a little loop there, and then I'm just going to start to wrap around that loop until I create kind of a hanger or a hook. Okay, so there's that. So there's that for hanging. It's really hard to see, but it's there. There it is. I'm just going to add one of these red bows. Add a little bit of the paddle wire to this bow, just to give it a little bit more structure, because this little twist tie isn't really cutting it. All right, well, I got the bow on there, and I just used a little bit of the paddle wire through there, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it looks really good. Now, again, I could go in here if there's pieces that are a little long, and I could just do, you know, a little trim back. But I kind of like the wild quality of it too, so unless it's like really hanging over, I might call it good. So I like the simple bow, but I also have some other things. So, but for this time, for this one, for my first one, it's going to be done. So I'm pretty happy with it. So for this next one, I want to try some of this cedar. So I'm going to clip this. Again, it's got to be pretty small, pretty short. I'm going to try to get 3 bundles out of what's here if I can. Okay, I think that looks pretty good for my bundles, so I'm going to go ahead and grab another one of the smaller wreath forms, and I think I'm going to try to wear my gloves this time, just because my hands are getting really cold, and so I'm losing some dexterity already. Either that or maybe go in and have a warm cup of tea for a minute, but I'd like to try to get at least 2 done here before I give up on getting cold and going in. So again, I'm just crisscrossing these, trying to go kind of one direction, then the other direction to tie on. All right, I'm ready for my first bundle. I'm gonna go ahead and slip the gloves back on if I can. I have these gloves that are, but I think they got wet. Yeah, those are even colder. Those are wet. Winter gardening, am I right? Okay. Righty. Get this guy in here and just get going on this one. Oops, where am I? So as I'm building these, you know, I am thinking about time, the time that it's taking me to do this. Now doing a video like this kind of helps because I can see, you know, kind of how much time, but you know, I want to consider that in my price that I'm pricing, like as well as the supplies that I'm using. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to like make a huge spreadsheet or something, but you know, you kind of want to think about pricing and make sure it's you know, worth your time and your expertise, because not everyone, you know, has the time or energy or creativity to do something like this. Although I think everyone can, they just have to try. But you know, life is life, so we don't all get time to do it. All right, I'm really liking the way that this one is turning out. I think that the incense cedar is like, the incense cedar, I should say, is really adding to the look of this and the fullness. Definitely is better on this one than the first one. Okay, and here's this one all finished. It looks really pretty. Next one, I am going to just keep going with these smaller wreath forms. I'm going to go ahead and look at my bucket here and see what other goodies I might be able to use. Also, there's the bottom of this tree has almost a different look to it, the branches, than these ones I've been using. So I think I'm going to clip some of those. Sorry, I'm going in circles. I'm going to clip some of those and get kind of a different look. So let me show you what I mean. This is the bottom of those branches. It's really, really pretty. It almost has a different look than the top branches to me. So I might try to use some of this. Now I realize I'm changing it up for each one, but I'm also doing some experimenting. So when I make my larger ones, I have some like expertise of using all the different materials that are here. So hopefully that makes sense. Now I hate to trim this even shorter, but I have more, and you know, this is a pretty big branch for this. So I am gonna have to limit down quite a bit, probably to here. But it'll be fun to experiment with this as the backdrop instead this time. All right, guys, well, here's what I've got so far. They look a lot different when they're hanging than they do when they're flat on the table, that's for sure. So this was my first one here, and it's kind of hard to see them because they're all bunched together here. And then that was my second one with the brown bow. And then my third one is over on this side. These are the hooks where we hang our towels for the hot tub. So this one, I don't know, it seems like it's not hanging correctly because it seems like it would be a little bit more like that. But that one definitely lost the center. It's pretty, I don't know, it's pretty wild. I think probably the first one I did was the best because you can really see the middle. And I did this one with some smaller pieces. So I think that might be the way to go, is just to cut things really small, like smaller than I anticipated, at least for these little wreaths. I also am eager to try these bigger ones though, because I want to give it a shot. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to warm up for a minute and then come back out and try to do a bigger wreath as well and just see how that goes. Okay, well, it's a little bit later from when I started this project this morning, and I'm losing daylight. The neighbor dogs are barking, my dogs are barking, and I also put on a warmer coat, so hopefully I'll be in a little better shape here. But I'm gonna go ahead and try one of these square wreath forms. I know that's probably impossible to see, but, and I came up with my first bundle here. So yeah, I'm gonna move on from the smaller ones. I've got 4 smaller ones built now, and they're all slightly different. I found a few other things to add to them. I found some pine cones and some other kind of like berries that I might add. But I'm just gonna go ahead and start a new one because I'm kind of getting, you know, I'm practicing, but I'm also getting kind of more comfortable now. So I thought I'd try a bigger wreath form, and we'll just kind of see how this goes. The square one, maybe I'll have better luck with it. I'm not sure. So far, I mean, I think that the wreath making has been a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be honest. I think, you know, people make it look really easy, but it's there's kind of some finesse to it in figuring out like how long the bundle should be, how big the bundle should be, trying to make them all similar size, and when you're kind of bundling things up. But it is fun. I am enjoying myself, but you know, the result of my wreaths is not quite what I expected, I guess. But I'm gonna put a few other things in here. In fact, I think I'd like to add some of this holly to this one. So I'm just gonna thread this down through. I already did this wiring. So yeah, if you have any tips for wreath making, go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know, you know, what your tips might be for making wreaths. So far, I'm definitely learning as I go. So yeah, let me know what you think, what your tips might be. That's this one, and I really like the holly of this one. So here's how this one turned out. It's really pretty with the holly berries. I definitely think it needs a bow. So I have this bow here that I thought was really pretty. A friend made it for me. Actually, I am not the best bow maker, but isn't it cute? It's kind of fun and rustic looking. So I think the last thing I'm gonna do is find a little spot for the bow. Yeah, I think right here is going to be perfect. So I'm going to add some wire to this bow and get it wired on there. It might be missing, if anything. Let's see how it lays. Ooh, it's very pokey though, very pokey. But there it is, all done. I think it's kind of funky, but it smells really good and it's really pretty. One of the ones I'd made earlier, and I decided I trimmed it down a little bit, and I'm deciding I'm going to add a few pine cones here to the front. So what I'm going to do, these are just natural pine cones, but I'm going to wire them up with my paddle wire. And I'm just going to go around kind of the bottom. I'm stepping on branches everywhere. The bottom of the pine cone. So I'll kind of show you this process. The sun's going down on me, I'm losing light, but it's a beautiful sunset behind me. All right, so I'm going to kind of double this over. Let me get a good length going here. What I'm going to do is kind of fold my wire in half and then take this kind of loop that I created and just kind of wiggle that in down into this bottom of the pine cone, and then get to a point where these kind of come together, and then I'm just going to kind of twist them together down here at the bottom. And that way I've got a pine cone that I can wire into place and manipulate how I want to. Now, I thought about adding some like flocking or something to the pine cones, but honestly, I think they look nice just natural, so I'm just gonna leave them like that. The dogs are out here with me, playing, getting some fresh air. So that's the top. So I've got this bow here, so I'm gonna kind of turn it that way. I just kind of wanted something on the other side of this one. So same thing, I'm just going to loop it and then take that bottom and kind of thread it through and then twist it. And then I might end up, I kind of like these pine cones so much here, I might end up just moving my bow and kind of making more of a focal point on this side. In fact, I think that's what I might do. But I think I like the bow better on the side with the pine cones too. I think that looks a little nicer. So yeah, I feel like that one's ready to go, and that looks a little better. All right, friends, well, I've got very little daylight left here. I've got 4 small wreaths. I've got 1 big one. I want to do a second big one, just so that, you know, I have some variety for people. And then if I make my signage, I can have signage for both my, you know, smaller ones and then a couple larger ones too. And I still have, you know, I have these 2 square wreath forms and I have 2 more. So if I do decide to continue and do something next weekend, I would still have quite a few. So I'm going to go back to my bigger piles here and look for some end pieces that will work for this other bigger wreath. And then for this one, I think I'm going to try to bring in, well, I've got this beauty berry, but I think I'm going to have to add that as a, I want to add that as a final piece, but I might be able to kind of wrap it in, maybe every other one. Oh my gosh, it looks so gorgeous. It's so pretty. Let me see if I can do it. If I can kind of bundle this up and wrap it as one, it would be so pretty. Can you guys even see? The color just doesn't even show how pretty it is, really, but it's gorgeous. So wouldn't that be pretty with that pop of purple? So I'm gonna try it. Gotta get my paddle wire going. I've been gloves on, gloves off, gloves on, gloves off all day. Definitely recommend having some room to do this. This little table I'm using is not ideal. So as you guys can see, it took a long time to make this last larger wreath. And as I was watching this video footage back, you can almost see how dark it gets. The sun is going down behind me, and by the end of the video, it's pretty dark. The whole process of making these wreaths today was really fun, but also pretty labor intensive. It took a lot longer than I anticipated it taking. I did enjoy the process of making these wreaths and centerpieces. However, I think that I enjoy growing cut flowers and making flower arrangements more than these winter arrangements. I worked this evening until the lights went on my patio, which are on a timer, meaning that, you know, it was dark outside. But I was glad to finally get this last wreath done. And let me show you how everything turned out on the flower stand the next day. So the next morning I set up the flower stand with the 2 large wreaths, the 4 smaller ones, and then some holiday centerpieces. And I did pretty good for the first day of sales. I sold 2 wreaths and 3 centerpieces. So all in all, it was very successful. I priced the smaller wreaths at $20, the small centerpieces at $10, and then the 2 larger wreaths at $25. And that seemed to be a pretty good price point for people. So thanks for checking out the video today, guys. I hope it gave you some inspiration and ideas. If you need me, I'll be doing some yardening here in my Oregon yard. I'll see you next time. Bye.